Bali. The name alone sparks images of turquoise waves, lush rice terraces, temples glowing in twilight, and infinity pools overlooking the ocean. On social media, Bali has become almost mythical, a paradise that promises beauty, adventure, and peace. But behind the carefully curated Instagram posts lies a more complicated story. The very success of Bali as a global tourist destination is now creating pressures that threaten its environment, its communities, and even the very experience people travel there to find. This tension between the dream and the reality is not just about Bali. It is a global story about how destinations from Barcelona to Phuket, from Venice to Machu Picchu, are struggling with the weight of over-tourism, social media expectations, and the complex balance between economic growth and sustainability. Let's start with Bali itself. In 2019, before the pandemic, Bali welcomed nearly 6.3 million international visitors, in addition to millions of domestic tourists from across Indonesia. For an island with just over 4 million residents, that influx is massive. Tourism contributes more than 50% of Bali's economy, providing jobs, revenue, and global visibility. But the strain is visible. Waste management is overwhelmed. Bali generates over 1,500 tons of plastic waste daily, much of it ending up in rivers or beaches. Water scarcity is rising. Hotels, pools, and luxury villas consume vast amounts of groundwater, while local farmers face shortages for rice cultivation. Traffic congestion, overdevelopment, and pollution are reshaping once quiet villages into bustling commercial hubs. Globally, this pattern repeats. In Venice, Italy, cruise ships carrying thousands disembark daily, overwhelming narrow streets, while locals are priced out of their homes by the surge of Airbnb rentals. In Barcelona, Spain, residents regularly protest against mass tourism, citing noise, rising rents, and cultural erosion. In Thailand, the once famous Maya Bay was closed for years because the sheer number of visitors destroyed coral reefs. In Peru, Machu Picchu had to introduce strict visitor caps to protect its fragile mountain ecosystem. Social media has amplified these pressures. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube can turn a hidden gem into a viral hotspot overnight. In Iceland, locations featured in movies and viral posts saw exponential surges in visitors, leaving fragile moss landscapes trampled. In Japan, Kyoto's quiet geisha districts have had to create no-photo zones due to disrespectful crowds chasing viral content. And yet, tourism is also lifeblood. The World Travel and Tourism Council estimates that globally, travel and tourism generated $9.9 trillion in 2023, supporting more than 330 million jobs, about 1 in 10 worldwide. For many developing economies, including Indonesia, tourism is a critical driver of prosperity. To reject tourism entirely is impossible. To manage it wisely is essential. The question, then, is how do we balance the dream of paradise with the reality of sustainability? Here, the Quran offers wisdom that feels timeless. In Surah Al-A'raf, chapter 7, verse 31, it says, "Eat and drink, but waste not by excess. Indeed, he does not like the wasteful." The principle of avoiding excess applies beyond food. It extends to how we consume experiences, environments, and resources. When tourism tips into excess, paradise turns into burden. Similarly, in Surah Ar-Rum, chapter 30, verse 41, we are reminded, "Corruption has appeared on land and sea because of what the hands of people have earned, so he may let them taste part of what they have done, that perhaps they will return." Over-tourism is a form of imbalance we have created, chasing beauty without limits, often forgetting that nature and culture cannot endlessly absorb human demand. The science backs this up. According to the United Nations Environment Program, tourism accounts for 8% of global greenhouse gas emissions, driven by air travel, energy use, and overconsumption. Fragile ecosystems suffer when visitor numbers exceed carrying capacity. Economists call this the tragedy of the commons, when shared resources are overused because everyone assumes someone else will bear the cost. But solutions exist, and some are already working. In Bhutan, tourism operates under a high-value, low-impact model, charging daily fees to limit mass influx while preserving cultural heritage. In Palau, visitors must sign an eco-pledge upon arrival, promising to respect the environment. In Amsterdam, tourist taxes fund local infrastructure and conservation, while restrictions on short-term rentals protect local housing. In Bali itself, community leaders are calling for stricter zoning laws, improved waste management, and sustainable tourism initiatives that benefit local people, not just investors. Technology can also help. Data-driven visitor caps, eco-certification for hotels, digital platforms that spread tourism more evenly across regions, all are being tested globally. The challenge is whether governments and industries have the courage to prioritize long-term health over short-term profit. Ultimately, this is about balance. Tourism, at its best, is a form of exchange. Visitors gain beauty, culture, and connection, while host communities gain prosperity, recognition, and pride. But when balance tips, paradise suffers. The Quran's message is clear. Avoid excess, uphold justice, preserve creation. As travelers, we too carry responsibility, choosing eco-friendly accommodations, respecting local traditions, supporting community businesses, and thinking beyond the Instagram photo are small but meaningful steps. When we travel with mindfulness, we honor both the earth and the people who welcome us. So next time you see an image of Bali on your feed, the rice terraces at sunrise, the beaches glowing at sunset, remember that behind that beauty lies a delicate balance. The future of paradise depends not only on governments or businesses, but also on us, the travelers. Because paradise, whether in Bali or anywhere else, is not just a backdrop for photos. It is a living world that deserves respect, care, and gratitude.